I would now like to call to order the May 7th, 2025 meeting of the Indiana State Board of Education. Roll call, please.
Mr. Bess.
Here.
Ms. DeLosa.
Present.
Mr. Durham.
Present.
Dr. Ernest.
Here.
Mr. Gassnell.
Here.
Ms. Hamill is absent. Mr. Mapes.
Here.
Ms. Moat.
Here.
Ms. Rentschler.
Here.
Mr. Watts.
Here.
And Dr. Jenner.
Here. Let's please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, is there a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved. Second.
With a motion and a second, any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Is there a motion to approve the minutes from the April 2nd, 2025 meeting?
So moved. Second.
With a motion and a second, any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
And opposed? All right, motion carries. Well, good morning. May is a happening month for educators in our schools around the state. I think most school corporations, schools have events nearly every single night celebrating students and educators in some way. So huge shout out to all of our people around the state for all the work happening. Today, we are so thrilled to be joined by a group of students who are actually going to do a demonstration for us. Looking over here, we see a large robot. And what's special about this, and we'll say more about them shortly, is in Indiana, for the first time in 20 years, we happen to have the world champions in robotics right here from Indiana and right over on that side of the room. And I see a couple of you smiling big. A couple of you are probably still a little nervous, but we're so proud of you and cannot wait to learn more about what you built and how you won, how you beat these other countries and other states. We love it. We like to win in Indiana. So a few updates for everyone. Of course, last month on April 2nd, this State Board had the pleasure of joining Governor Braun for a diploma announcement that we have secured a number of partnerships to provide students a direct path to their future upon completion of a readiness seal. Of course, the schools can opt in next school year. We've had more and more questions about when can they opt in, and it does not have to be for an entire cohort. It can be for just a few students within a cohort. But the direct path includes guaranteed admission to Indiana's 7 public universities for any student who completes the Enrollment Honors Plus seal. It includes dedicated career support from Ascend Indiana and guaranteed interviews with some of Indiana's top companies for students who earn that Employment Honors Plus seal. And of course, that also does include some apprenticeships that are auto admit. And then also for those students interested in serving our country in the military or in service areas, gaining direct access to veteran mentors, career counselors in Indiana National Guard, and access to priority job placement programs. A huge thank you to all of the partners who made that possible. Over the past week or so, since about as soon as legislative session sine died, our team and others, we've started to get out and travel the state. Was in Evansville early last week, meeting with a lot of different business CEOs who are very interested in the apprenticeship work-based learning space. Was also in Rockport Elementary, South Spencer County. They are members of the literacy cadre. They have a school with over 50% free reduced lunch, and they are hitting the 95% mark literacy for iRead. And actually, I talked to one of their teachers, Mrs. Janet Shipp, and she's a second grade teacher, and she has already seen 100% of her second grade students who have passed iRead this year. And she attributed that to a number of tactics, of course, that are being deployed, but also the work of the kindergarten, first grade teacher. It takes a team of people to get those students reading by the end of third grade. Also visited MSD Lawrence Township, where was able to check out the Early Childhood Registered Teacher Apprenticeship Program. That is a Department of Labor program, and that was on National Apprenticeship Day. Yesterday was at Bartholomew County Schools to celebrate their future teachers. They had a big signing day. It was very well done, and a growing number of their students are interested in being teachers. And then also was at Seymour Schools yesterday, where was able to tour and visit with many of their educators and district leaders. I think next week I'm up north, pretty much along the whole top of our state border, from St. Joseph County, Elkhart, all the way over to the region. So really looking forward to that. Also, last week, we had a really special group of visitors stop by the office from Wabash Valley, and I'd love if Dr. Ernest would say a few words, and I did not warn him about these students. He had emailed and shared some about their excellent work, and then they came in and presented that at the State House, and actually we have a spectacular
There was a picture up
piece
here.
of, do we have a picture? It's all right.
Sorry, we're calling an audible.
Yeah, I just
Or
passed it to
visual.
you.
Or
Yeah,
visual.
exactly. Yeah, so Byron, you want to share a little bit about this?
I will, if then I can share a little bit too. So let me start with
Yeah,
one thing that you haven't.
you want, I'll give you some board comments, and then you can come back to board comments. Is that what you want?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Can
Done.
we do? But we can talk about this now
Let's
if
do
you
it.
want to. Okay. So one, I'm going to start with the one thing she hasn't talked about yet was the RAS 32 event, the 15th and 16th, which I'm sure you have on. So I had the chance to go, had a chance to listen to you speak, Katie, and it was wonderful. And one of the things that you talked about was how, until now, our diploma go back to your grandparents and your great-grandparents, and the diploma's the same as what it is, right? And I think that's applicable to this discussion. And we talked a lot about that those 2 days of being there for that event. And those folks keep saying they are trying to come up with a proof of concept. I would say they already have come up with a proof of concept. They're doing this well as a partnership, right? When you have schools start to talk about trading students and what have you, and I think we have that model in our career in technical education, right? And that's where I was leading up to this then. So what you're seeing is actually a welding art project that was funded and set up for the schools down in that area or over in that area by Nucor. So Nucor sponsored this. They had rules about which welds you had to use. So it was truly a showing of what you do, right? And they funded this. And so this teacher, and there's so many things in this story. Sorry, but
No,
this is so cool. So their teacher is in his second year. He is a workplace specialist teacher that I have the privilege of being his mentor and coach and working with him. So I'm with him a lot. And to watch this project that he handled just like we all think we should be doing things. They literally were a team. They had a project team leader who is the redheaded young lady in the back. And she learned some things about leadership with this, right? Like how to deal with things, how when you're not happy with what people are doing, how to deal with those real world employability skill things. And so as I watched this happen, and then I watched the kids playing it, and he literally was there as a coach, not, he wasn't doing it for him. And I was just so impressed. And the end product is sitting in outside of Katie's office, and actually, our executive director David Buzzy, he wants it in his office when it's served its purpose there. We were happy because that's 600 pounds of metal to have to move, But Katie, I really appreciate you spending time with them, because what we found with the 5 students that were here, we have students going directly into the workforce. And when you asked it was so cool. You asked them, and they were right there with, and the one wasn't sure yet. One young man that's a junior wasn't sure, but he had some plans as to what he wanted to do. One wants to go straight into the workforce, already has the certifications. One's going to college because she wants to be in metallurgy. She's now going to college and was enthused by the weld. So I don't know, I came away from that so enthused. The partnership with Vincennes University, their dean was here as well for this. And so it was just so great to have a situation. And you've got 3 schools represented there, which again, I think is that's efficient, right? When we can have a welding program at one place, they actually have 5 schools coming to that welding program. 3 of them were able to be here. It just models the things that we've been talking about, right? And the things of doing right for kids. And I just appreciate you, because the other thing that I will say about this, and this picture doesn't have, we had grandparents, parents. I mean, I met Papaw, and Papaw and I became, but I took him for ice cream to the Circle. Most of these had never, and I think I think this is part of leadership, right? We have to be cheerleaders. This teacher, anybody that's taught knows what second year of teaching is like, right? And, the first, second, and third. Yeah. How cool for him to be at the State House. Mama and Papa, most of the parents had never been to Indianapolis, had never been in the State House. I gave them the Byron tour of the State House, which is kind of interesting and fun. But again, I appreciate having a few minutes to talk about. These are the things. We need to be watching for these things too, because again, I think cheerleading is important. These kids felt very special. They've gone home. I was out there last week, and it's like the buzz, right? That they were in your office at the State House, and I mean, they think it's a big deal, right?
Yeah.
And it is a big deal. So anyway, that's the story behind that, and we need to do more of those kinds of things.
And you're right. They designed all of it. You can probably tell it's a true size basketball backboard net. That's probably why David wants it in his office, so he can shoot some hoops. But it's on a corn stalk. You can't really tell. It's on a corn stalk. There's a covered bridge.
Park County,
Park County, covered bridge down there, and grain silos, and a cardinal, and like a number of state celebratory symbols there. So come check it out, shoot a basket, and again, so proud of those students. They did all of it, built and project managed all of it. So thank you for highlighting that. Finally, and then I want to open it up for board comments. Want to celebrate, it's Teacher Appreciation Week, and throughout Indiana we have schools every single day. I hope it's every single day, right? Food and good stuff happening for our teachers. Just so appreciate all that they do. They are the heart of our classroom, and we sure appreciate them. On that note, I would love to pause and offer if any other board members have comments or reports.
Katie, I've got one other.
Yes, please.
Sorry. You've got a article named it's State Innovations from NASBY, and it talks about Indiana. And so just wanted to talk really quick. It's kind of funny. It's embargoed, but you have it. I was able to give that to you. I not really know what that means yet, except I know they're doing a release on it.
Won't
But
share it further.
but
Yeah,
so maybe we shouldn't. Yeah, maybe we shouldn't. But I'm being a cheerleader, so let's heck with embargoes, right? But Indiana is a part of it, and Dr. Jenner is on the advisory board for this NASBY network of schools that are working on redesigning, looking at high school, right? And of course, Indiana's one of those to look at. But last week, I had the opportunity to be here in Indianapolis with a NASBY group from Kansas, California, Washington, Kentucky, and New York are all part of this. And Knowledge Works is a part of this with us. The Carnegie folks were here. And so had a great 2 days of discussing. It was great to be able to share what we've done and the work that we're doing and the work that other states are doing. You know, all those other states are grappling with the same thing that we look at is how do you do multiple measures K through 8, right? And how do you look at those kinds of things? So it was great to have that discussion. We got to spend a morning at Purdue Polytech High School, which was like incredible as well. It had been a couple years since I'd been there. And so I just wanted to share this article that talks about the things that are going on with that, and that we were here in Indianapolis with that last week.
Well, thank you for sharing the embargoed copy.
Yeah.
And we will not share it further, but yeah, that's, at first glance, what a kind highlight. So thank you.
You're quoted in there too.
I
Sorry,
hope that I made sense in the quote. We'll see.
Yeah.
Any other board comments? Yes, Katie.
Katie would like to share.
Yeah, Kristen, jump in.
Okay. I just wanted to extend my gratitude to Brigadier General Munich and Dan Gilbert, who helped support and organize an event that we hosted at Columbia City High School in April. It included almost 20 different members of both the Air and Army National Guard working together, which I think they said that's like the first time that they've ever partnered together. They were led by Major Gene Harding, and him and his people came in and they set up rotations at our school to teach our kids everything from what the financial benefits are of joining the Guard, to how our CTE programs would flow nicely into different aspects of the Guard. They even landed a Black Hawk helicopter in our parking lot, which caught a lot of attention. And so, though the opportunities that the Guard offers aren't new, we had a chance to look at it with new eyes, and really help our kids walk away with some new ideas of what their future pathways might be. And we just felt like it was a great chance for our students to start leaning into the new Indiana Diploma. And we really had a lot of kids that walked away with ideas of joining and using that to help support their future education. So it was a great event, and I know we're meeting again later to talk about how they can copy that event and start maybe using it around the state.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that, Kristen. Katie.
In that same vein, with the new diploma, I just wanted to raise a wonder that I think it would be good for us to be monitoring and paying attention to, and that is the funding for the free courses that Ivy Tech has historically offered for high school students. I understand it's a very challenging fiscal environment for all of our public institutions right now, but many of our high school students, in order to complete the College Core, which is a prerequisite for the Enrollment Honors Plus seal, are not going to be able to have funding for those courses, which could put at risk their ability to complete the College Core this year or next year and be eligible for the diploma. And so I'm curious the order of magnitude. I don't know what that looks like, but I think it's important for us to know it and to be facilitating conversations about what does it look like to figure out stopgap measures for that funding, because that could create a socioeconomic disparity in who's eligible to earn that seal. So, really just something I would love for us to keep talking about and understanding, so we don't have any implementation or accessibility barriers to actually getting some significant momentum with the diploma.
Yeah, and I think to that point, the dream is, and we've talked about this, how might we open access across the board year-round for students to earn college credit? Because even some of our school corporations, and we discussed this on Monday, was with about 400 dual credit teachers from across the state, and the reality is, even a school who is well-planned, like, I mean, I have to look at Hamilton Southeastern, it's a larger school. You could have 2 teachers who retire tomorrow, or who, heaven forbid, right, get sick or something, and then that can impact what you can offer to students. So, you know, how do we acknowledge the nimbleness of those situations, but also the economic situation we're in right now, which resulted in that pause of free courses for the summer. We still do plan to offer Crossing the Finish Line.
Okay.
Crossing the Finish Line, of course, has funded those students who are very close to completing, and typically targets juniors and seniors, where that Ivy Tech free course was freshman, sophomore on up. So we do still plan to fund the Crossing the Finish Line, to keep some of that going, especially as the students get older. But yeah, great flag. Thank you. Any other? Okay, seeing none. Public comment. Looks like we do have one today. Michaela. Morning.
Good morning. I'm glad I was able to find the podium. For some reason, I thought it was somewhere else and I was confused.
Yeah.
So today I'm going to submit 2 examples of the impact of the increased politicization of education in our state on our children, and especially our most vulnerable students. As you know, Gary Community School Corporation is currently governed by a majority state-appointed board, and as part of a promised transition back to local control and an elected board. The leadership of this board, which is appointed by the state, has demonstrated an utter disregard for the law and weaponizes their other offices to bully other members of the board and school officials into complying with directives that inhibit the normal functioning of our schools. Recently, the body removed a library appointee without cause, a decision made in advance of any public hearing or meeting even being scheduled or publicized, and thus without any opportunity for public comment, in violation of statute. At the meeting following the hearing, 5 minutes later, they immediately appointed a school employee without notice of vacancy or call for applicants, as they had also made this decision prior to the public hearing and meeting, without any opportunity for public comment prior to the decision actually being made. This wasn't even the first person that they had selected for the appointment behind closed doors. The other individual, clearly motivated by financial and political gain, continues to be leveraged as a threat to mute public outcry in my community. Unfortunately, this is what our state-appointed board focuses on instead of literacy and promoting a beneficial relationship between our libraries and schools. I've also become aware that in a neighboring district, a director of special populations, or the equivalent of that role, is actively working with members of our state government to circumvent special education law and to cover up past violations of this law, again for political favors. This has further emboldened violations of the law by this same director, who was hired illegally by a previous administration and board, and when school personnel raised objections to administrators and the board, this director tried to create the impression that she was being targeted because of race. Dr. Jenner, I know when it came to Gary that you committed to us that you would try to appoint the best people possible, but some of this is simply beyond your control. Some of this is simply the inevitable consequence of substituting appointments for elected positions. Thus, not only do I appeal to you to provide us temporary relief from the appointed leadership that our schools suffer under, but I appeal to every level of government to restore elections for the school board of the city of Gary and to cease actions that interfere with the ability of everyday Hoosiers to seek election to school boards across our state. For the second example I provided, you can see that state oversight is not effective, yet local legislative actions further erode local control of municipal services that serve as foundations for civic engagement in our communities. We have seen this model piloted in our schools without success. There's no clear complaint process for when schools violate the law, other than labor and special education, and clearly even those processes are not effective. Laws intending to protect our children from bullying are not enforced by school corporations, and there is no clear due process. I again appeal today not only to Dr. Jenner and the state board here, but to all aspects of our state government apparatus to let our people go. Hoosiers across the state are exhausted by government overreach, which increasingly we experience from our state rather than federal government and from the party that claims to oppose it. Government overreach is and always will be a nonpartisan issue. In order for our families and communities to survive our current economic and political challenges, we must lift the yoke of ineffective state control and fight the expansion of centralization and erosion of local control, interference with our elections, and our ability to enact our God-given right to self-determination. Accountability is an act of compassion. I appreciate everyone in this room, and I believe that a better future is possible and that we can come together to build that future. Thank you.
Thank you, Michaela. All right, let's now move to the consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Katie, I will be recusing on consent agenda item F.
Is it recusing on consent agenda item F?
Yeah.
Thank you, BJ. Any other recusals? All
Move
right.
to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
The motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, to absolutely the highlight of the day today, our students who are here with us from McCutcheon High School. They are the Maverick Robotics World Championship team. And just for the sake of making sure they're on camera during this and the board is not, I think people are going to want to see them. Do we have all of our cameras ready and set up? We're good to go. Okay, so board members, I think we should get up and go check it out. And, it would be great if we could start, and this is a really big deal to have you, if you could say your name and what grade you're in. And then I think it'd be interesting, based on a lot of the discussions we have as a board, what are your future plans, if you know that? If you don't, that's okay too, but we'd love to hear those three things. So, let's start over here.
My name is Derek Lane. I'm a senior. And I plan to go through the next level job program and architect for structural welding.
My name is Josh Fuller. I'm a freshman. I don't really have many things around here.
Maybe Purdue, you have a nice hat on, I see, yeah.
I'm Andrew Lore. I'm a senior, and
jump in and see this robot.
We'll get there.
Yeah, we'll get there.
Presentational field questions.
Yeah. Does anyone have a Kleenex?
I think I do, actually.
Kleenex. My allergies are.
Once again, I am Jersey Troxel from the McCutcheon Robotics team, and this is our presentation to you guys. Wow. Aha. What FIRST is about? FIRST stands for Inspiration and Recognition of Science and Technology. Science and technology is a very an under-recognized sport, if you could say, and we're here to represent that. FIRST core values, it's just kind of a given when you join this program that you need to follow discovery, innovation, impact, inclusion, teamwork, and fun. You need to follow all these rules so you can have a great experience like us. Well. Team 4272 principles and values. Our core values are safety, professionalism, community, communication, and challenge. We want to reach out to as much of our community as we can, like we're doing with you today. We want to make sure that our team is a safe place and that we can always be professional and introduce things like this to everyone that we can.
So, in order to make a lot of things work on our team, we have lots of different sub-teams of people that work together. So on the robot side, I'm on our design team, and what we do is we make our entire robot online in a 3D modeling system. So it's cool there, and then we hand it off to our assembly team, or the RAT team. So research, assemble, test, and they do a lot of prototyping to make sure a lot of our things end up working on the robot, and we do a lot of stuff in the school, so we have all sorts of machines that work there. And then they hand it off to our programming team, which makes it work, because they make it so we can press a button and it will go up really high, or sense to see if we have a game piece inside of our robot. But then also, that's very fun. So outside of just the robot, we have lots of, oh, that was like one button. Yeah. So outside of just the robot, we also have some sub-teams that work with other parts of the teams. So we have our strategy sub-team who works at the start of our season to see what kind of things we need to make our robot do to be the best we can. We have our imagery sub-team, which works with all sorts of art, and they make our website, they design our shirts, and they also work with some sponsors because the season is expensive and we need to work with that. And then we also have our awards sub-team who works to try and win our team some awards at competition.
So to recap our season, we have a kickoff video that's released in January. It shows us how the game is, what the game is, basic rules of it, and how to play, and how it can be played. From there, we have a build period where we design, build, and make the robot work. And then we have competitions. Our first competition was in Kokomo, where we had a record of 13-4. We ranked third in quals and third in playoffs, and we did win an award, a judges award. And then at our Lafayette comp, in Lafayette, we had a 16-1 record. We ranked third in quals, and we did win the event. We also won the creativity award. And then from there, we also qualified for our state competition, and where we went 13-6. We ranked, again, third in quals. We got second place. We were finalists. We didn't win the competition, but we did get second. And then we also won the Innovation and Control Award. And then from there, we also ended up qualifying for the world competition.
For the first World Championship, there are 8 divisions. We were Newton division. In our division, we ranked 23rd out of 75 in quals with an 11-4 record. We won our division, and then we moved on to the Einstein field where we had a 5-2 record, and then we won the championships.
Would we be able to play the video?
Yeah.
Could we mute it too, please?
Yeah. So this is our last match video. This is the match that we won the world championship with.
As you'll see, there are 3 teams on each side, and those are what are called alliances. And those are 3 teams from all around the world that we pair up with.
Last match here on Einstein. Over on blue, they've already scored 3 up top, but red is outpacing them in auto, scoring 6. Make that 7 from High Tide, 8 from Orbit. Over on the blue alliance, they were able to score 11, and that was enough to give them the lead coming into teleoff. These alliances know that they need to work on the algae
the middle
first.
left or the middle right,
Eagle Force snatching an algae and adding it up into the barge for red.
that is where we
Their
score
partner
the PVC
Orbit
pipe
doing the same. The blue
and it's also
alliance
where you
though
grab the blue,
stealing some
blue
algae,
kickballs,
jacking the
which
bot
are
from
called
red,
algae, and you
and
score
put
them in the middle section, which is called the net or the barge. And yeah, as you see here, it looks like it's a really close game in the middle. Eventually it turns into kind of red side winning, but in the end we kind of pull it all together to win the match. Yeah. I don't know what's the...
Can you point, which is your robot?
Our robot is right here.
Okay.
So our robot can do everything on the field except pick up the big green balls on the ground and score into this other scoring area. That place doesn't matter. So as you can see, our robot can shoot up really high and score the top level, the second to top level, that level, and then the bottom. And then our robot can also extend fully and score into the net.
Yeah.
So these are called human player stations, and there's a human player or just a human that shoots out the coral that can be given to the robots so they can score. And there are about 30 pieces on each side, so there's one here and another one there. In one of our matches, we actually scored every single piece of coral that we could on our side. It's very impressive.
Do you know the task at hand when you're designing the robot?
Yes, so we get, as one of
You
our
want to go
previous
to the
slides-
mic? So,
Yes.
yeah.
One of our previous slides said our kickoff event.
Yeah.
We get about a 3-minute video that says, okay, this is what you do, and this is how you score. These are your game pieces. Here are the point values. There you go. So then you also get a game manual which shows you all the rules, and then we build our robot off of that. So it has like size dimensions, how tall it can go, how wide it can be, whatever, and it shows us all the rules. So we follow that, and as the strategy sub team, we think, what do we want our robot to do? Oh, this is where we win. So right at the very end, our robots climb. So it's all water themed. So we're technically underwater. And the things we climb on are called cages. So it's shooting us back up. And then you can see us celebrating down there with our other 2 teams. I would like to admit I bawled my eyes out. And it was great.
When was your first competition at Kokomo?
Our first competition at Kokomo was at the beginning or like the second week of March. So we only get about 10 weeks to build.
That's the impressive thing.
Yes, so we build our robot in about 6 weeks as like a rough draft. So on our robot, it'll look like polycarb, which is just like plastic. At the very beginning, it's just made out of wood. And then we build off to make a better robot throughout the season.
So when to Pat's point, when you had that Kokomo competition and you had some losses, did you immediately come back and start improving?
Yes, so the time period between our Kokomo event and our Lafayette event was 1 week. So we had meetings almost every single day, and we're like, okay, this part failed. We need to fix this. And it's like, oh, well, this part did really great. Let's reiterate off of that. Our climber, which we'll show later, that was kind of iffy, and then we fixed it to make it even better to help us climb at the end of these videos.
So cool.
And was that your differentiator, like the climbing piece that you added? Is that sort of what put you
Yeah,
on
in
top?
some competitions, so in our 2 competitions in Indiana, the high scores were like 100, 150, and then at our Lafayette event, the team we were with, we actually were the first alliance to break 200. And then at these events, if you saw the score, it was like 300.
Wow.
So it was a lot of change between those. So our next part is our sponsors. So our sponsors, including you guys, they help us a lot with giving us money to build our robot, giving us a place to work, sending us mentors, supplying food for us. And we would like to give a special thank you to our McCutcheon High School and Tippecanoe School Corporation for their continued support. 14 years of support for congratulatory notes left in our lab. Our principal loves us, and she leaves us notes all the time. industry standard equipment like CNC machines, which are just metal cutting, and laser machines and saws, whatever we need. We have lab spaces. We use one of our awesome teacher sponsors to use his lab, computers and software, half of a practice field, and those practice fields are really big. And then among many other things that we get from them. And then our sponsor from you, we received $7,000 this year, and it covered our season registration and covered portion of the state championship event. Because not all teams are guaranteed to join the state event, so you have to pay for it later. And the robot in total is about $20,000, and that's including a motor this big, that's $400, and it also covers season costs of when we have to stay at hotels, food, transportation, registration. All of that's $30,000, so we spend about $50,000 a year. Next year, we're going to take some of our extra money from you guys or from another place and start up a 5 kindergarten teams with little Lego robots, and we're going to revive a middle school team. So Wainwright and Southwest, or just Wainwright have the Lego robots right now. We want to start a 3rd one at Southwestern. So literally every grade we can feed in. I've been doing robotics since 3rd grade. If I were to be able to do it from kindergarten, I'd be way better than I was now. But doing it since 3rd grade is a very big deal.
Well, and I love how you're like seeking to defend your title. Like, let's prepare the young ones so we can continue our success.
At our competition, like, there's a level of high schoolers, a level of middle school and high schoolers, and then levels of K through 5 students that are at the world championship for their little Lego robot. So it's very impressive to get them all through this. And then now we can start with our demo. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask them now or during our demonstration. So
Yeah,
any questions?
I think one thing that I would just highlight for board members or anyone else in the room, we need to talk about this team. I mean, what you have done in winning the World Robotics Championship for the first time in 20 years, having an Indiana team, is remarkable. And we've talked about before, Indiana has more robotics teams in elementary and middle school than any state in the country. We make up about 15% of teams. But we have to continue supporting students like you, and that means lifting this story up. So we all should, as much as possible, and those in the room, especially media, because of your outreach ability, please share this team's message forward. It's really remarkable.
We've been
We're so
on
proud of you.
local news stations, indie news stations. We've been in Journal and Courier. We've been in Purdue Exponent. Just a lot of places have given us recognition, but we want to make world recognition. Because the other teams we were with, they were the best 2 teams in the world, and we were like 80th. So not many people knew us, but getting all this recognition from winning is a lot.
Where were the other 2 teams from again?
So there's only 3 that played, but we have a 4th bot too. 2 of them were from California, and 1 of them was from Washington.
Okay, good. Other board member, questions, comments, things you want to lift up? Yes, Dr. Ernest.
I did, to your point of lifting up, one, congratulations.
Thank you.
This is what school should look like, in my opinion. And the other thing that I want to point out that we also need to lift up, in listening to you, let's forget robotics, engineering, and all the stuff that I don't understand. But when I listen to you, I am not worried about the future. In fact, I want to just say, you know what, I need to just step back and let you all be the future, right? There'd be a lot that would agree with that. But when you talk about taking care of kindergarten kids, and you talk about getting your middle school back up, that really, all the other is impressive, so I don't want to, but you all are good humans and going to be great citizens, and that's the part I want to lift up, and that's the part I want society to realize. When we do things like this in school, and this is what school looks like, then we get that. We don't even have to teach it, it just happens, right? Because we're teaching it in a context that's relevant. So my hat off to you, and yeah, every chance I get, I'm going to try to talk about you all too.
Thank you.
Did Purdue help you at all?
Purdue actually supplies us with mentors, and they give us some money for our sponsors. So there's a Purdue First program, First, like the whole brand.
Yes.
It's called Purdue's First program, and they supply us with mentors. So there's 4 Lafayette teams. There's one at Westside, Harrison, Jeff, and us. And we get about 2 to 3 mentors from Purdue that come and help us in wide varieties. There's one on our CAD team, the computer where we build everything. There's a lot on our RATS team where we build the robot. They're just helpful in so many ways. And most of them do go through robotics in high school, and they join it when they get in college.
Great. Pat?
That's probably the key. If you've never been to one of these competitions, they're the greatest thing in the world to be at, right? Because
And you're a sports guy.
yeah,
Yeah.
it is all student driven.
Yes.
I mean, yes, we have adults there who are supervising, but they're just standing back and supervising. The other key and the other ask I would have for local communities is come and be that mentor. Come and help and provide some of that guidance, because when I was in Perry Township, Allison was a partner for us. You know, we had parents who worked there. They would come back and work with our kids at night to build their robot. And that is the key piece, and it's what Byron just said. That's building the future, right? They come back in, provide guidance, provide expertise. They do the work. I mean, this is your world championships. Congratulations.
Thank you. And like he said, I want to reiterate, our robot is all student built, student designed, student programmed. A mentor does not touch our robot unless it's a very dangerous thing to do, but it never is. I've had my hands on the robot once, but there are tons of other kids over here that have spent their whole time on the robot doing nothing else but building it. So it's a lot of time and work and accomplishment that we put in, and I'm very glad that we could have won this because we deserve it.
Let's fire this thing up.
Let's do it.
Okay. So our robot's name, this was a water game this year, or water theme. So our robot's name is the Real Swim Shady. Swim. So we have 2 of our game pieces here with us. We have our algae, which is Derek is holding, and we have our coral, which is Josh is holding. We can demonstrate robot. So our robot can get up to 10 feet tall. It's very loud, so I'll speak very loud. So our robot has subsystems. So this is one big robot, one big system. But subsystems are smaller. So this is our climber to climb on those cages. And it's in the up position, but it sticks with a metal top and bottom. It'll go in and it'll clamp, and then it'll harpoon onto it so it can't get back out. And then it'll go back to that position it was just in and pick our robot up. So without the bumpers and our battery, it's about 115 pounds. With it, it's 150 pounds. So that little thing does all the work climbing. And this is our manipulator. Up here it holds our algae, and down here it holds our coral. And this is our feeder. So we have a huge player, which is Josh, and he shoots one in. Is this Josh? Yes, it is Josh. Show him what you do. And it holds it right there. So we can show you kind of the different scoring levels.
So you were controlling it.
It's both of us have something. So Andrew here is the driver, so he's the person who will drive it around and take it. Oh, yeah, and then I have a lot of buttons to make it move to different heights, so we can show you some of those.
So go
Say, what are your buttons for?
So I can move it up and down to a lot of the different heights for a score.
Okay. So go to L1.
Oh, yeah.
So, like we said, there's 15 seconds of the robot doing itself, and then the other 2 minutes and 15 seconds, it's the driver or operator controlling it. This year we actually implemented auto driving, which we just press a button and the robot does it completely by itself. So it's still kind of auto, but we help with it. So, okay, we'll go to L1.
So on the reef, there's the 4 different levels that we can score on. So the lowest level where it kind of shoots into a tray. And the next 3 levels are all going into holes. So we have
L2.
Yeah, the second height, third height, and the top height I like to call it a slam dunk.
level, third level, but we made sure, because L4 is the highest scoring, so we're like, we want our robot to score. So we
Yeah.
shot it up.
So they just could not, the other teams maybe couldn't figure out
Yeah.
how to, I see.
Because there's some teams that don't get as much money as us. We're very grateful that we get lots of sponsorships to be able to have a robot like this, but there's some teams that don't have that much money, so they can't build a robot as well as this. And then we have our second main piece of our algae. There's 2 levels that we go. There's between levels 2 and 3 and levels 3 and 4. So this is the fun part. Turn it around this radiation zone.
Are you gonna shoot it?
Yeah, show
Shoot
it.
it, shoot it. Shoot it.
So this is our boards that put all the way up there. So the robot goes freezing tall.
I thought it was coming out. Catching the bus, throw it back. Okay, what am I'm throwing it? Okay, all ready?
Yeah.
Let's see how good I am.
You can do this.
Well, I can't even get it. Let me give you another. Wait a minute. Oh, too hard. Okay, we've tried.
But yeah, that's our robot. Does anyone have any questions about it?
Is that as hard as it shoots out?
Yeah.
I
So
was expecting like a direct hit.
Notice she pointed at you when she said the dragon.
we maybe could.
Let's try it. Come back.
That is awesome.
You're gonna try it. No broken bones. Just catch the ball.
What's gonna happen?
Hold on, just a second, I gotta do it. Hold on, no.
I got this.
3, 2, 1.
I thought it was coming a lot harder.
Taking an extra close look at it, we could turn it off so it doesn't hit you. And they, if you guys want to press buttons, you guys.
You're gonna go press the button, BJ.
Yeah, go press the button.
BJ's nervous.
Just don't touch the robot. We heard about that.
Yeah.
You have to hold it.
You gotta hold it for it to go.
Hold it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and then this part is super high for the algae.
No.
You definitely hit your ceiling.
Hey, help me out. Have me throw the algae to me. Come on, BJ, we're a team now. I'm gonna catch it this time.
So like 3, 2, 1, and then hold that. Yeah.
Ready, Byron?
Yeah, I'm ready.
You're Byron? Yes, give me 3, 2, 1.
3, 2, 1.
Well, how cool. Well, board members, what other questions, thoughts do you have for our world champions?
Congrats, this is awesome.
And I know that your teachers and coaches aren't allowed to help you with all the things, but I know that they're there.
Yes.
Can one of you tell us a little bit about like what they've meant to you in this process?
Our teachers and mentors, so we have 2 teachers at our school that come and help us, and the rest are mentors that get right off of work and come help us. So we're very grateful that they spend their time doing that with us. They're there mainly for moral support and to help us instruct, because most of them are engineers. We get them from Caterpillar, other world-class organizations, and they're like, maybe instead of doing this, there's an easier way that you could do it like this. And it's just a lot of help so we could make a easy robot. One of our goals this year was to have a simple robot, even though it might not look like it. This is a very simple robot. And they were able to help us accomplish this.
Awesome. Can we get a picture with you?
Yes.
With the world champions?
Yeah, I'll hold the algae.
Is that okay? All right. Here, all board members come in.
We also, that's our shadow box. We give it.
This is your shadow box.
Yes.
Here, huh? Yeah, you hold it.
It's your guys's. Yes, because you're one of our,
Play this.
yes, you're one of our sponsors, so each one of ours get us.
All right.
Come over there, there's some space.
We'll just play this.
Everybody, okay, here we go. 3, 2, 1, robotics.
Robotics.
All right, we got it.
Algae.
He's already picking up.
Yeah.
All right.
I may just show up up there or something.
Oh, yeah.
So as one of our sponsors, one of our bigger sponsors, we give you a shadow box. So here's kind of our accomplishments. You guys can take this wherever you would like. For you guys.
We'll put it right on the mantle at the state house. Yeah, hold it. Yeah.
Stop that shelf that I knocked stuff off of.
That's right. We're not gonna do that. So if you all want to stick around a little bit, some folks might want to talk to you. I know we might want to do a few videos or something. We'd like to do a highlight of you for the whole state, so maybe some interviews. Anything else you think we need to know?
Thank you. Thank you for letting us.
Well, we're gonna go back over here again to adjourn the meeting.
Okay.
So give us just about 30 seconds.
Move to adjourn.
Do you see why I wanted to shoot the algae straight?
We're kind of out of control,
Oh my goodness.
but I like it.
This is like handing out those papers before you do it.
Yeah,
Kids,
yeah.
Kids are done.
Was that it, seriously?
All right, do we have a motion to adjourn?
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Aye.
All in favor? We are adjourned. Yeah, that was it. I just want.